The reason most people associate freelancers with being broke and why most freelancers are actually struggling to make ends meet usually boils down to these two things. They are not offering the right stack of services in the market that desperately needs them, or they're simply not doing the math it requires to make a living properly. And I know it sounds very, very basic, but almost every single problem boils down to these two things. And maybe it stems from a limiting belief, so they don't think they can do XYZ, but it always is rooted back in these two things. You say you want to make 5K per month, 10K per month, 50K per month, but your package that you're offering is $300 and the people you're offering it to are trying to negotiate that down. How are you going to end up with 10K at the end of the month if that's the situation that you're in? If you do not have the capacity, lead flow, or correct pricing and offering, you will not hit the goals that you put on your vision board. It doesn't matter how pretty they look. So in this video, I'm going to break down a simple 5-minute brainstorm that can completely change the trajectory of your freelance business and help you earn what you want to earn by making sure that your math is actually mathing. And listen, I used to be allergic to math too. I would say that I've never been a math girly. I'm definitely more creative. I'm more of a literature English girly, but there's no excuse today because almost every device we have has a built-in calculator. We have all these AI tools. So doing the math is actually easy and you don't have to use your brain capacity to do that. You can keep your brain capacity doing the creative activities, but you need to set up your business model in a way that makes sense so you can hit your goals. And I was stuck at various price points per month over the course of my freelance business because I simply wasn't able to do the math. In the beginning of my journey, I would say stuck at 2K to 3K per month. And then moving forward, I was stuck at 6K per month. And each of those required different sort of shifts, right? So in the beginning, I was doing lower ticket projects. I didn't have a lead problem, but also I wasn't serving clients on retainer offers. So I was burning out trying to get clients to keep up this 2K to 3K per month. And then when I kind of scaled past that, I realized, okay, I could get retainers, but now it's more so how I'm packaging these retainers and the value that I'm bringing to these clients. And if I want to make more money with doing less, I need to just add more value to the client. I need to figure out what is the thing that is bringing the most ROI that will make them confident to pay me more. So then I can scale to the 10K, 15K, 20K per month, working, essentially doing the same thing, but the results are making the clients more money or my capacity is shifted. So I can make those numbers with doing less. And especially for the people who are not freelancing, let's say digitally, so you're going in person, filming content for people, you're doing that sort of thing. You need to factor in all of these things when you're doing the math. Not only has to do with the way that you price your offer, but it also has to do with your numbers overall. So how many leads are coming in per month, meaning how many people are actually inquiring on the Instagram stories or the feed posts or the LinkedIn posts, how many people are coming in from there. And every month, if a certain amount of people respond to you, how many of those people do you actually eventually end up signing? What are the percentages there? Because if you understand that, you can then create a funnel that maximizes for a specific number per month. So your chances of hitting that number are either guaranteed or you're very, very likely to hit them. And that way you're not burning out. Or if something's not working, you know which part it is. Okay, last month we had more conversions, but less leads coming in. What does that mean? Or we made more money, but we had less leads coming in. That's because this client actually wanted this package. So maybe I should change this package around. All of that is the math that I'm referring to. This kind of clarity, again, not only changes your income, but it changes the way that you look at your freelance business. It becomes something that you actually enjoy doing and something you feel confident in, and you're not constantly thinking, am I going to make enough money next month? Because you're very clear on what your numbers are. That kind of clarity will not only make you more money, but it will change the way that you feel about your freelance business. And personally, I think it's really important to feel kind of feminine in your approach to your freelance business. It really helps in the process. I find that whenever I was leaning too into sort of my masculine side, it made me dread it. And because the work that I do is so creative, it just created this like gap between the output of the work that I was doing. I like to feel like I am in my femininity and I'm receiving in my freelance business, but the baseline that helps me do that, to feel a lack of anxiety and to feel confident and to feel like I'm a woman in my power, I need to have the baseline structure of my business sorted out. So that's part of the reason why I'm so passionate about talking about this stuff, especially towards women, and why I built She Freelances, which is sponsor of today's video. She Freelances is my private community and curriculum for women looking to carve their own path, their own income, be surrounded by ambitious women, talk about things like this in detail anytime, any day with people who actually get it. The waitlist is open until July 24th. Joining the waitlist will give you early access pricing, as well as access to a private masterclass that I will be hosting later this month. Any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely click the link. But yeah, there's a couple things that I want you to brainstorm right now if you could relate to anything I've just said about feeling like you're in a plateau or feeling really burnt out or not really confident in the way that you're approaching your freelance business. Number one, you need to think about the service you're offering. Who desperately needs that service? And when I say who desperately needs it, the person who desperately needs your service is the person who will see a direct ROI from it. So an example is the other day, I was actually talking to one of the founding members of She Freelances, and they were doing freelance videography for music artists, low key, under the scene music artists. Now, we love them, and that's something if you're really passionate about, you can continue doing, but they're not going to be the money makers. And the reason is because the ROI that they'll receive from you helping them shoot a music video is going to be very low, because they're actually in the same place as you. They don't have an audience yet. It's kind of like a nice to have. They could probably film it themselves if they really, really tried. Do you get it? So we brainstormed and thought about, okay, if we want to stay in this industry, we want to keep offering the skills that we're good at, which is videography, but we also are really good on understanding marketing and what makes an artist go viral. And we actually have connections in the industry as well. If we hit certain numbers, we know we can hook them up with certain deals or whatever the case is. This was a scenario. When we think of things in that way, we can either one, change the market. Maybe instead of positioning ourselves as a videographer for upcoming artists, we position ourselves as a virality strategist for upcoming artists. So maybe we have a specific criteria. They have to have X amount of music already launched and X amount of people in their community, whether it's on social media, or maybe we don't have a criteria like that, but our offer is changed. Instead of just making music videos, we not only help them produce their first music video, but we help them figure out their positioning in the industry and go viral on short form platforms with the video content we make so that they can get a lot of buzz for when we release a video. And we guarantee them a certain amount of increase in views from their last video without us, for example. That immediately then one changes the perceived value, because they're not just getting an edited video, but they're getting strategy, they're getting community, which then will help them get deals in the future, blah, blah, blah. You get it, right? So that offer is probably going to be more expensive. So maybe the person that desperately needs that offer and will actually have the money to afford that offer is somebody who's already in the music industry. They're already getting paid for their music. They're a full-time artist, but they've been in a plateau and they need a little pizzazz and they haven't really shifted to go onto TikTok. So they're an artist who was making music before this short form video wave and they haven't really gone into that world yet. And your offer is there to help those types of people do that. So you see how we started with one skill set and we've now zoned in down into something that is providing extreme value to somebody who desperately needs it. And that will allow you to increase the way that you charge, but in a market that desperately needs that, can afford that. So something that I see often is, let's say, copywriters charging like thousands of dollars for website copywriting. You have to think of the market sophistication, meaning what do people understand about copywriting and where they can get copywriting and the value that copywriting brings. Now, there's no doubt that copywriting, for example, is very valuable to a business and can increase their revenue, but it's not copywriting in and of itself. And paying $8,000 just for website copywriting isn't of value to a startup who just paid probably $6,000 to actually build the website, or is going to have to spend loads of money building the website, and they're bootstrapping everything, so they don't really have money. What's of value to them is investing in the products or the service they're actually going to launch, investing in maybe ads that's going to bring customers in. So how can you position yourself in a way that the value that they're going to get out of the service that you're offering is good, or the price matches that? So that's the offer sort of side of things. The second bit of brainstorming that you need to do is, okay, when it comes to your pricing, and again, this is something that I break down in excruciating detail in She Freelances and we talk about all the time, but you want to move from getting paid hourly to getting paid for your outcomes, right? You want to move into a position where you're offering value and result, because that's what actually keeps you working with clients long term. But also, even if you're charging for outcomes and your rates are too low, it will lead you into a cycle of burnout. So if you want to make 10K per month and your most expensive offer is $1,200, how many clients do you need to sign on and complete every month to get to that point? If that's the case, does it make sense for you to continue using that package as your baseline? If it does, and you can actually get the work done really fast, like let's say this is a very quick thing, then maybe you need to focus on getting more lead gen. Okay, that means I need X amount of people to sign on every month. That means I need more volume in this area. So we really need to focus on top of funnel content to get lots of people coming in. So I have a wait list of people to push out to and say have X spots open per month. That's viable. But a lot of people aren't thinking this. So that's the one brainstorm. Maybe, okay, your highest package is $2,000 and you want to get to 10K per month, and the work that you're offering takes you hours and hours and hours, days, maybe 2 weeks. You obviously do not have enough time to then make 10K per month with that package. So then you need to think, okay, do I need to increase my pricing? If you're constantly selling out and it's not a lead problem, but you just don't have enough time to take on more clients, that's proof that you need to increase your pricing. So maybe you do that first. You increase your pricing, and then you can see, okay, increase my pricing, I have more bandwidth, blah, blah, blah. That might increase the amount of monthly revenue you have. If that's not the case, if you have a lead problem and you're not making enough money from the work that you're doing, then it's going back to square one with the offer. How can I take the skills that I have and change the perceived value of my offer and the ROI the client will get to charge more and only have to do 2 clients per month because my packages are 5K, right? What's inside the 5K offer? Who needs results badly enough to pay that? And what would make it an absolute no-brainer where you barely even have to do a sales call with them? Pricing is not about, honestly, even your skill set. Now, I'm a believer that you need to be undeniable at what you do, because this is what ultimately built my freelance business, becoming good at what I do. So that's the baseline that I'm speaking from. However, your skill set doesn't matter as much as your positioning does. The way that you structure your offer as a videographer, as a copywriter, as a UGC creator, as a designer is the reason people will pay more and buy into what you're selling, even if you don't get them results, actually. When you do this, you actually attract clients who aren't going to negotiate and don't need any convincing, who trust you to own the process, which will likely make you do better work, which will then allow you to continue charging at the rates you do or even more. So the biggest shift for me was taking my skills and moving into different industries. But it required me to take some time to do a little bit of learning. I moved from email marketing to creative strategy, which is paid ads. And the base of both of those are copywriting, but I still had to understand what ads looked like and how ads worked and the different reasons an ad worked. The metrics, for example, on the back end of Meta, click-through rate, hook rate, cost per click, all the things. I had to learn those things. The reason that positioning changed things for me is because the ROI was clear, but also because I had been working in e-commerce space for a while as a copywriter in agencies and whatnot. I had a lot of understanding of conversion rate optimization. I had a lot of understanding of offers and funnels when it came to e-commerce specifically. And that plays a big role in how ads convert, not just writing ad scripts. Not only did I understand those things, but I could really hone the process. So I've had a range of different offer setups in terms of the income I make over the years for creative strategy. When it comes to creative strategy, volume matters a lot, but what clients really want is at least 1 to 2 winning ads per month. If they can get that, they'll be happy, because 1 to 2 winning ads per month can make them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So my packages would reflect that. Hey, you pay me 5K, 10K per month, depending on the amount of volume that I'm doing with the ads and honing the process, and I can guarantee you 1 to 2 winning ads per month. And that's a simple offer. Let's say, for example, you do 1 ad script every single weekday for the month. That's like 20 something opportunities to get a winning ad. If you are even decently good at what you do, you will get that for them, right? So that's the kind of thing you need to have. Another setup, for example, in my industry and creative strategy was revenue share or a bonus for a winning ad. So maybe my monthly retainer is lower. It's $2,000 per client or $1,000 per client. And I'm doing 1 ad a week for them, something like that. But I get a bonus of $1,000 if they get a winning ad. And we have a criteria for that, the ad spend in the account. Or maybe the criteria is that it was running for a certain amount of time, whatever the case is. And that's another scenario that I've had. And it incentivized me to ensure that even though I don't have that volume going in, I'm making sure the ads are very, very thoughtful. So they have higher chances of performing well. Client's happy, I'm happy, everybody's happy. In order to get to the numbers, I need to think of the perceived value. Okay, the client will make hundreds of thousands of dollars if I do this, but I only have that criteria because let's say I only work with e-com brands making 6 to 7 figures or 7 to 8 figures, right? That's a criteria. So you need to do that brainstorming. Then another important layer is how long does it take me to write an ad script? 40 minutes, an hour? How long does it take me to coordinate with creators? Are they going to have an assistant to help me do that? What is the case? When you do all of that math up front, you find an offer that works, and then you reverse engineer the math to ensure that, okay, I just need 1 more client with the same exact setup and I'll be at 6K per month. I'll be at 12K per month. I'm telling you, the only reason why most freelancers stay broke is because their offers mathematically make it impossible for them to achieve what they want, a livable wage. But even if they are making a livable wage, if they want to scale and actually have the freedom that they started freelancing for, it's because they don't do this brainstorming because they're fearful of it, or because when they do it, they feel a little bit nervous of numbers that come up and perceive it. Either way, that is the root of everything. So don't skip this. Take some time to do this 5-minute brainstorm about your offer, the way you're showing up and your pricing. Be honest. don't lie, because if you do that, it'll defeat the whole purpose. And if the numbers don't work, the answer isn't to work harder, but to work smarter, to rejig the things. If you want a little extra help with that, that's why we have freelancers, which you can find in the description. Let me know if this resonated with you or if you have any more questions related to this topic, and we'll talk soon.